Welcome to the second half of this show, and I'm calling this a very special edition of the Dale Wiley Show. That always means something bad, and it reminds me of how Mr. Drummond from Different Strokes came on to a very special edition of Different Strokes and told the audience very seriously about how the little redheaded kid that came in to try to save the show after Arnold and Willis were not cute enough was going to be molested by the old guy in WKRP. And unfortunately, the story that I have to tell is all too real, and it tears me up every night. No, it doesn't involve Sue T. There's one interview that I have to do before we can proceed with that. This is real life, and unfortunately, it's tragic. This is the story of my friend and client, Trish Halverson. When I first met her, she was in a very cold room in the Newton County Jail. She had just had a stroke, and even though she was actually a year or more younger than my 46 years, or the time, I guess, 43 years, she didn't look like it at all. She was charged with attempting to murder her husband. I have come to believe that there was no evidence of the attempt to murder. Unfortunately, the judge did not agree. Having practiced law for almost 20 years, I've had the highs of the big wins. Even yesterday, I got to watch a case which I had dealt with for almost 6 years come to a win for my client against a mortgage company at a mediation, which is an amazing feeling. But the winning a case does not compare to the feeling of losing a case, one that you think you should win, one that you completely believe in your client, and you still believe justice was never done. At the time the trial was held, I had not yet started a radio show. I had no way to additionally lobby the parties or the world or whatever else. But now I think it's time for her story to be heard. I've been interviewing Trish, and I'm still working to try to get her further relief in this entire endeavor. But right now, I want to start by doing what I'm submitting will be the next podcast that I'm doing, which will be out in a week or two. I'm giving you a very special preview to that podcast. The story I've got to tell you about my friend and client, Trish Halverson, is not really a whodunit. It's not the story of a crooked judge. We got a good judge, the one that we wanted. I could go further and tell you more right now, but it's not time. Because my friend Trish is sitting in the Chillicothe Women's Prison in Chillicothe, Missouri, for a crime that wasn't a crime. She was convicted of attempted murder, but it was an accident.
911, what's the address of your emergency?
My husband's bleeding. It's County 4. Please, sir, somebody get here.
Okay, where is he bleeding from?
Mouth and nose.
Some of her friends say that she's lying, admitting that she shot her husband, and yet again covering up for him. I don't know what to think about that. I take her at her word that the gun went off, and then she sprung into action and saved her husband's life. But that doesn't matter. She's sitting in prison, and she shouldn't be there. Now, the first thing I want to ask is, Trish, is it okay if I have the opportunity to turn this into a podcast or get this out there in other ways?
Yes.
Is that what you want?
Make it public.
I'm inviting you to join my team. Did I do something wrong? Did she?
And I was looking at it and the gun went off. Did it hit him?
I'm going to show you all the evidence and enlist your help. I want you to help me set her free. We're waiting to see exactly what the options are to do this as a podcast. We're planning on doing a GoFundMe campaign and helping to enlist more people to try to tell the story of this gal. But for right now, I want to start by letting you hear Trish and letting you hear from her and her story and what she's going through in a place where she desperately does not deserve to be. And so now, here are some of the snippets of my conversations with Trish Halverson, which will soon be a podcast in itself. You can go visit dalewiley.com to learn more. We're going to be telling you a lot more about this story. Trish, is it okay if I have the opportunity to turn this into a podcast or get this out there in other ways?
Yes.
Is that what you
Yes.
want?
Make it public.
Tell me why you're in here.
I was convicted in May of 2017 of second-degree attempted murder on my ex-husband and armed criminal action.
Were you guilty of that?
No. I'd had a stroke in 2015 and paralyzed me. I have some paralysis on my left side, so I was doing a lot of different things to try and help benefit me physically. So I was just taking and getting a lot of exercise, things like that.
Can I just leave your name and your housing unit?
Halverson,
What house?
4D.
All right, thank you.
I don't know much about handguns. I didn't know if the safety or anything was on, so I asked him, plain and loudly, as I was walking back through the house with my cane, if the safety was on, and of course he asked me to bring it to him, and I was standing over there next to him, and
Go ahead. Let it out. You cry, tell
then all of a sudden, I don't know why the gun went off, but I was looking at it, and of course my vision isn't all that good. And I was looking at it, and the gun went off, and it hit him. And of course I was scared. I dialed 911. I did.
And what did you do after you died in that?
I got him rags and things to help him he was sweating and he was bleeding out of the mouth and stuff, and I got him rags to help him and I was on 911 at the same time, and it took him a long time to get there. I do remember that.
I think that maybe most people who would be listening to this would think that you shot your ex-husband in the head, and you shot him at close range, but he's still alive, right?
Yes, he's still alive.
How's he acting?
It differs from day to day.
Okay.
One day, we would visit, and just like nothing ever happened, we sit and visit for an hour. But then, as soon as I left, his attitude would change, and he would be on the phone to people that I know and talking bad things about me. And he would text me, ask me if I was okay, offer me food, money, a heater to keep me warm. Offered to help take care of my, do things on my dad's grave, and most of the time he would do it, and then let me know that he'd done it to make sure that I was safe when I was out there.
Well, now, what do you mean make sure you were safe when you were out there?
He said that I didn't need to be out there in the dark, so he went out and put lights out on my dad's grave because he knew I spent a lot of time out there.
Well, did he think you were going out there at night?
I don't know how he knew I was going out there at night. I would see him driving by. On Sundays, I always went out there and took care of my dad's grave on Sundays. And he would see me because he only lives a couple miles down the road. So, and when he'd be out driving around, he would see me there. And he has stopped and visited with me.
In what town?
Anderson.
Okay, in Anderson, Missouri. And if we're drawing a map of Missouri, is that about as far west and as far south as you can go?
Yes, southwest Missouri, yes.
Like the true definition of southwest. If you spit too far, you're going to hit Arkansas.
And if you spit the other way, you'll hit Oklahoma. And you could drive a few miles and spit and hit Kansas.
Okay. So in other words, this happened in December 2015. We got you released on bond in January.
January 7th of 2016.
Okay. And then where did you move after that?
I moved in with my best friend.
Okay. And where's that?
In Anderson also.
Okay. And then did you move to Neosho at some point?
I had to, yes. My kids actually moved me to Neosho.
Okay. When was that?
It was in May of 2016.
Okay. Now, did anyone else move to Neosho in 2016?
He moved to Neosho in 2017.
Okay. Who's he?
Doc, my ex-husband.
Your ex-husband?
Yes, even though he was scared to death of me, he moved just, I think it's approximately maybe 3 to 4 miles from where I had been residing for over a year.
Okay, now, that's one of the things that we've got to make sure that we do in talking about this is when you said, and I know that you're being sarcastic, even though he was scared of you.
Right.
People that don't know you won't be able to know that. And
Right.
so, do you believe Doc had any reason to be scared of you?
No, I don't.
Okay.
He'd talk to me in public and he would get mad if I didn't talk to him in public.
Okay, but this is after the shooting.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So in other words, all of his actions were nothing about being mad. Would that be the way to say it?
No, he was. He never showed any madness towards me, fear or anything whenever he would see me.
Tell me about your situation right now. Are these what kind of people are you around in there?
Convicted killers,
Okay.
just like I'm an attempted convicted,
Well, you're
attempted
an
murder.
offender every time.
Right,
It makes me mad every time I have to say that.
Right,
That's how
I'm an
you-
offender, but
Yes.
I'm in there with women that are in there for life. There's some in there that have just gotten here for other.
Well, let's
other
lay it out there.
I'm in here with a lady that actually put her baby in a microwave because somebody told her to. I don't have any idea. I share a cell with a lady that she's been in here 12 years so far, and she's a convicted murderer. She murdered somebody. I have another one that's in there, which she's going to be going to treatment because of her drug addictions. The drug addictions in here are just, I don't know anything about drugs, and when people are talking about that kind of stuff, I have no clue what they're talking about.
Right.
But there's people in there that are in here for life, and it's because they chose, to do something wrong, but they're very young. They're in their early 20s. And it's just, I haven't really been here long enough to know a whole lot about a lot of people, just
Sure.
a few here and there, but there are a lot of people in here for life, and it just kind of scary because things happen in your sleep, and when you're in the same room as people that are actual murderers, and then they don't care not to say that they didn't do it. Here I am, I'm like, I am innocent, and they're all like, no, we did this, and they're proud of it. And I would never be proud of anything like that.
Right.
It's scary.
How did they come and get you?
My landlord had called me and said the cops were looking for me. And I was like, okay, send them on over. I didn't think anything of it.
Right.
And he goes, well, let me, it was on a phone conversation. And they came over and they asked, are you Trish Halverson? And I was like, yeah. And they said, okay, well, we could possibly have a warrant for you. And I was like, possibly? I said, what's it for? And they said, well, we don't know. And so we stood around and they ran my social security number and my name again. And the dispatch said, yes, there was a warrant out for me. Nobody really knew what was going on. And then I was in county for 3 days, and they woke me up at 4 o'clock or 3 o'clock in the morning and told me to pack my stuff, that I was leaving. So they took me to Vandalia, Missouri, where I spent 29 days in R&O, which is basically like a boot camp.
Okay.
Yeah, they
How does that work?
They take you in there and they tell you everything that you can and can't do. it doesn't matter. If you're moving, they know exactly what you're doing, and you have to tell them everything. If you want to take a shower, if you need to go to the restroom, you need to go to the nurse. If you want to use the phone, you have to get on a list. If you want to watch TV, it has to be whatever they want you to watch. I mean, it's R&O.
There's a whole lot more to this story. This is an incredibly, in my opinion, simple case, and I just can't believe that the decision was made that was made. I still can't. It bothers me every single night, and nothing would please me better than finding a way to get Trish out of jail. She does not deserve to be there. And so, as we put all this together, and there are a couple of things that we're kind of looking forward to and seeing if maybe there's some additional involvement from some bigger players. But right now, I'm starting to put together and do interviews with Trish from Chillicothe and try to come up with an understanding of what needs to be done for this woman who is still suffering majorly from the stroke she had in 2015. There are still more avenues and still more hope in this case, and Trish just continues to be one of my most amazing friends and clients, and I'm so happy to be representing her and be involved in her case. But I know that you'll want to hear more. It's a truly interesting case. And so that's why you need to pay attention and see what's going on in the weeks to come. You can do all of that by visiting DaleWiley.com and continue to learn about the case of Trish Halverson. And that's about it for this week. I would invite everyone to have a good weekend, to enjoy the wonderful May weather and everything that's coming this way, and continue to say, think about the movie about Springfield music and the stuff that's coming up there. And if you get a chance to put on Noel Morell's record or something that reminds you of the Ozarks in Springfield, Missouri, I would invite you to do that and have a little down-home fun. So this is Dale Wiley for the Dale Wiley Show, inviting you to stay tuned to whatever's next and keep watching the Ozarks.